How about we jump in a little who would win of the week, Andy? How do you think? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, let's do it. I want to talk about this one pretty badly, and I think we should mention the honorable mention, but we don't have to right away. Why don't you go ahead and set it up though, Matthew?
I didn't remember who we're doing.
Don Cherry. And Harry Caray. Two of the biggest personalities, I would say,
I forgot about Harry
sports
Caray.
announcing in recent years. If I know who Don Cherry is, then he's a personality. You know what I mean? And obviously Harry Caray.
It's funny that it's funny that you referred to it as recent years though, because if my research is correct,
not recent years, but just
passed away before I was even born.
Yeah. He died in February of 1998. Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah, so before I was born. No, never will be. But yeah, I got a lot of things to say right off the bat. Too, as of always, this is a fight. Don't forget. But a big part of that always comes charisma, because you don't see these guys really fight because they're broadcasters. And also, I want to say that this is prime Don Cherry, prime like Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday night. Like you're watching a fuzzy half-color TV screen, like when he's first bringing out these colorful suits, and he's youthful and just going absolutely apeshit every night. Same whatever, without any repercussion. So that's the Don Cherry I would like to focus on here. But I don't know. You want to start us off, Pio, Andy? Who wants to take the first crack at it?
Let me jump in if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'll go straight up. I am gonna go with Harry Caray in this one.
Yeah,
a few weeks ago.
That's the most predictable thing ever. Before Andrew even gives an argument, I can tell you right now.
It doesn't matter
because
that it's
he
predictable.
knows
it doesn't
who
matter
I'm gonna
if it's
pick.
predictable.
He thinks he
correct.
knows who I'm gonna pick, so he instantly picks the other person.
Matthew, this might come as a
Because he has
surprise to you. This might come as a surprise to you, Matthew. I don't base everything I do off of what you think. I do not give a shit who you're going to pick. I'm picking Harry Caray because I know because he's going to win this fight. Now, a few weeks ago, we did Battle of the Rons, Ron Swanson, Burgundy, Ronald Reagan. And part of the discussion with all three of those guys is that they kind of had that old school glass of scotch and slug 'em, type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't the most
red meat,
fit guys, yes, but they were red meat kind of, like old school tough. And that's what Harry Caray is, in my opinion. I think that even though because I'm going to say this is prime Harry Caray, in my opinion, is Cubs Harry Caray. He started working with the Cubs in '81, so he's already pretty old, but he's still got something, okay? And, when he really, let himself loose, I mean, there's no stopping this guy. I don't think that he would, as soon as Don Cherry stepped to him, he'd be all in. He'd be like, okay, if you want a piece of the old Cracker Jacks, then, here's your prize. Pop, pop, pop. If that makes any sense. But you know what I mean.
Kind of going off of that, I totally agree. They're kind of just two, old, gritty guys.
They definitely
But everyone in, Canada, you might be, or Matt, you might be picking Don Cherry possibly, because he's just, a grinder, especially when he played. But Harry Caray, don't sleep on those glasses, those thick Coke bottle glasses. He sees them coming in. If he can slip one hard jab and just connect, might be down. He might be
he's got fists like rocks.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Let me hit you guys with a little bit of knowledge and screw your heads back on straight. Don Cherry played, he coached, and he obviously did Hockey Night in Canada. So I've heard stories, a lot of stories through other podcasts, through the internet, all this stuff about him in his hockey days before he was broadcasting. And I've listened to him broadcast a million times. Hockey as a sport has been making this big push towards not making people's brains mush when they retire. Honestly, like it's become like health conscious point where they understand that when stuff happens in these games that they're allowing to happen, it has long-term consequences on their players, and their bottom line being player safety, because they need these guys to play and have long careers and maintain their level of athleticism and keep their sport alive, right? They want people to watch, but they want to do that through skill now rather than physicality because of those long-term effects. Don Cherry, up until he stopped broadcasting, was one of the only like hockey media people that would still just stand in there and be like, just fuck people up. Like, I mean, he understood the rules and he knew that where players had to draw the line, but if it was even slightly in the gray area, Don Cherry was loving it. He loved old school hockey. He loved fighting. He loved. Dude, I'd go as far as to say he might love concussions. Like, he might love when people get severely injured. I heard a story. I have to do a little bit of previous research real quick before I tell this story, but I want to hear Andy or Pio if you guys can come up with one good reason as to why Harry Caray would win this fight from outside of the fact that he's this manly man.
Oh, sure.
Because that's all I've heard. I have no evidence to support that so far, and I'm not very familiar with his. Outside of the fact that I know he was a baseball announcer and he was fairly charismatic,
mm-hmm.
like I don't know.
Fairly charismatic is an understatement. Harry Caray, for one thing, did not give a fuck. Here's a pretty well-known thing I think that Harry Caray said one time, but one of my favorite Harry Caray quotes. I don't remember exactly the instance, but it was a Cubs game and Cubs were up at bat and the ump called a strike and Harry Caray goes, "If that was a strike, then I'm a Chinaman." And this was in the mid-90s, I want to say. So you already could not say stuff like that. But Harry Caray was a nut job. He just did not give a fuck. Here's another thing I think that you can appreciate, Matthew. Baseball, as a sport as a whole, I feel like, drinking and kind of not necessarily taking care of yourself in the best way is something that goes along with that sport, and people have been able to do that and still be very successful in Major League Baseball. Wade Boggs, obviously, drinking 107 beers in a day. Harry Caray went on, 288 days of uninterrupted drinking. That's the longest bender that I think I've ever heard of, outside maybe Keith Richards. So Harry Caray,
I think I know several people that have been on a longer bender, so that doesn't even impress me.
That does 288 days does not impress you. I
couldn't do it.
I hear you,
but I'm not in the fight.
It's like Wade Boggs.
What's that?
He said Wade Boggs. He said it's like Wade Boggs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think that just kind of tells you that Harry Caray, he can hack it. He can hack it with the best of them. And obviously, if he does some stuff like that to his body and can keep going for years after that, I mean, he's not a guy to mess around with.
He's been through the ringer if he's slugging that many.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard a story once, and nobody fact-checked this because I don't know.
I'll just go by your word on this one.
Yeah. But I did a little research. So he was coaching, Don Cherry was coaching the OHL team in Mississauga in the 2001-2002 season. And I heard a story that, and a lot of times in a lot of training camps for hockey, and I believe this was the season that this took place, there's they say no fighting. No fighting in training camp, right? No fighting when there's guys trying to make the team. You don't want people getting hurt, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of these guys at the time coming up through really until within the past probably 8 years, a lot of guys make their career by fighting, right? So they're like, well, how am I going to make this team if I don't fight? So they do it anyway. So Don Cherry was coaching this team in Mississauga, and there was a rule for the camp, no fighting. So first day of camp goes by, the team scrimmages, and there was not a single fight. And the next day, Don Cherry called the captains of the team into the locker room and pretty much told them, like, if somebody doesn't fight in this game, like, I'm just going to cut everybody and sell the team. Virtually, like, is what he's saying. And the training camp that day started with, like, I think it was like 9 or 10 straight fights, like without the puck even being touched. Like puck drop, fight, puck drop, fight, puck drop, fight. People were just looking who jumped on the ice. If it was a guy their size, didn't matter the position. They were jumping out, lining up next to him, and they were ready to throw just to impress him. That's tough as nails. If you want to see, if you like, I got another stat for you.
The guy's willing to scrap his own team if the
like
captain's
a couple stats. When he was playing in the AHL. 70 games played, 118 penalty minutes. 64 games played, 197 penalty minutes. 70 games played, 106 penalty minutes. Like, until almost the very end of his year, like, of his career, as he started to get older, in the late 60s, early 70s, like, the dude was fighting, or not even necessarily fighting, but the dude was not playing any type of soft hockey. The dude was just out there doing whatever he could to win. And that is a time where hockey is not an easy sport to be played. Those dudes were beating the fucking piss out of each other night in and night out, knowing it was going to happen, and they still wanted to go out there and do it. So you're telling me that this fucking guy, baseball guy, is going to come in and kick Don Cherry's ass? It's a load of bullshit.
Here's what I am telling you. Here's what I am
Don Cherry would do it. Don Cherry would do it in the most creative three-piece suit you'd ever seen, and then he'd do a quick brush off, fix his pocket square, and he'd walk away like it never happened.
Here's what I am telling you. That a guy like Harry Caray is in no way going to be intimidated by that. And with all of that experience that Don Cherry had comes hubris. And as we all know, that's exactly what comes. Pride cometh before the fall, and that's exactly what would happen in this fight. Harry Caray would not be diminished. Don Cherry coming in there hot. He's a hot guy. He's a hot-headed guy. And I'm not saying...
No, he's not coming in there hot, though. He knows what he's doing. He's coming in there.
I'm sure he knows
Dude, he's coming in there and feeding Harry Caray. He's feeding him.
But that's what you think, and that's what he thinks. So he's going to come in there and be like, "Oh, I'm just going to annihilate this guy."
There's a difference.
Harry Caray dodges and weaves and ducks away.
Yes, and when
there's
you have
a big difference
like
between cockiness and confidence. Huge difference between cocky and confident.
Right, that's
cocky
true.
Would be if you walked in there throwing Conor McGregor at him. Don Cherry's walking in there dressed to the nines, confident, like, dude, I've fought way tougher guys than this fucking baseball schmuck. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to beat the shit out of him, and I'm going to go have a nice steak dinner.
Yeah,
and then I'm going to announce a hockey game.
You're kind of proving my
point. And I'm
going
to do coach's corner.
There, thinking that he's going
to come in there confident.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Harry Caray, not going to be intimidated by that. That guy, Harry Caray, is crazy enough where he's never going to know when enough is enough. He's never going to know when to quit. And so because of that, he's never going to. And I think in the end,
Don Cherry hits him with the 1-2, and he's laying flat on his back in the middle of the street.
That's not gonna knock Harry Caray down, though. Is what I'm telling you. Harry Caray.
How do you know? Have you ever been punched by Don Cherry?
No, but I'm looking at both these guys, and I'm telling you that that's what's going on.
All right, You
guys are underestimating those glasses, man. The glasses just give him X-ray vision. He's seeing those punches coming from a mile away.
You can see the fucking future with those.
Just counter one of them. Yeah. Counter one of those, land it right on the jaw of Don, and I don't know, man.
This guy is like old school, and Don Cherry's coming in. He's like, "Oh, listen up, fella. Like I'm gonna knock you out."
Most of Cherry's fights are on skates. Maybe being on the feet is a disadvantage for him. Who knows?
Oh my God, Pio! That's the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard. Pio,
you don't know.
You think it's more difficult to fight on hard, solid ground than it is on ice skates?
Come on,
it's so different.
But it's
no,
dude,
it's way different. It's way different.
Okay, so you're telling me if he has the ability to keep his balance on the ice, he wouldn't have the ability to say, "Dude, he punched."
I don't think there's a direct translation.
No. I'm not saying balance. He's going to grab on to like the jersey like a normal like hockey fight and kind of like push and pull and knock him off his edges. when you're on the street, you're not grabbing on the guy's shoulder, like walking in, like circling around in 360s. Like both of you are just kind of squaring up. Maybe a kick gets thrown, someone slips, maybe like a punch misses. The guy can move around you a lot easier. Like you're not falling on the edges, and it's not the stereotypical like hockey fight where like you hold on to the guy's sweater.
Anybody who was a successful hockey fighter could be a bare knuckle brawler. The amount of leg strength they have, like they are so centered. They are so in control of their body. If you are good enough to skate at an NHL level, even if you're a fighter, you have such good body control and on top of that, you can step into a punch on the ground way harder than you can on ice skates, because if you overcommit to a punch on ice skates, you're going to fall down. When you're on the ground, Don Cherry takes a step, catches him right across the chin. I just looked because it's usually a big thing I focus on. They're about the same height.
Okay.
They're an inch apart. Don Cherry's actually 5'11", and Harry Caray's
that's a good call.
6. So they're about the same size as far as.
Yeah, but with ice, you can dig into it. Like when you're pushing for a stride, you can push into a punch. It's almost like a Superman punch. When you're on land, that's just driving thigh muscle.
Not when you're locked up with somebody and they're giving. Like, I think you're underestimating how difficult it is. Dude, it's way more difficult to fight on skates than it is on land, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree in that.
So how? Yeah, I know, but you're saying that's going to throw him. It's not going to throw him off. It's only going to make him a better fighter.
It's not going to throw him off, but it's going to be different because he's not fighting the same style.
And another big part of street fighting. This is something that I've never brought up when we've done like athletes versus non-athletes before. Is that Don Cherry, being an athlete, obviously has like decent footwork, right? Like he can move.
Yeah.
How do I know that Harry Carey might be stuck in mud? He might be Stan Powell on the back end, just getting his shit kicked in.
You know what?
Harry Carey's got some weight to him too. He's not too nimble.
He does have that weight to him. He absolutely does.
God.
And Harry Carey.
And the thing is,
listen, hold on. He's got that Mickey Mantle gene. You know what I'm saying?
The Mickey Mantle gene.
He's got that Mickey Mantle gene. Harry Carey's one of those Mickey Mantle gene guys. And you can never underestimate those guys.
Well, how about we do this?
They can surprise you.
How about we do this, Andy? What we always do. Mm-hmm. We'll lock in our answers.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, even though, once again, I know that I am correct, but we will let social media decide. Because I think I'm undefeated. I honestly think I might be undefeated in who would win of the weeks on social media. I don't know if I've ever lost. Kids Next Door, they got blown out.
Which is that was your. That's still one that I'm sore.
They weren't even close. Because you're talking about a group of cartoon kids versus the Oceans crew. Mm-hmm. They robbed casinos.
So what? Whatever.
Regardless,
that's
Andy,
not this fight.
All right. Andy, lock in your answer, please, for the listeners.
Okay. Harry Carey is going to take this fight. He can hit hard. He's got that weight. And most importantly, I think he does not know that it's a possibility for him to lose. I think that he's kind of an ignorant guy. And in this sense, ignorance is not only bliss, but it's beneficial.
Don Cherry was the same way. Obviously, you see what happened to his career. Like, he didn't give a fuck what came out of his mouth.
Oh, and that's where I think they're
pretty evenly matched. That's where I think they're pretty evenly matched. So
then you take the fact that Don Cherry played professional hockey in probably the toughest era to ever play hockey in.
Okay.
And then you're gonna say that Harry Carey is gonna step out from behind his desk while he's calling a Cubs game and he's gonna kick his ass. Yeah, suck me, buddy.
I am saying
that's just not true.
That's
lock in your answer.
Man, I don't know. Both sides have got good opinions here, but I gotta go Don Cherry. I think that guy's just kind of an animal. And the thing is like Don isn't gonna say no. Like even if he's losing and Harry Carey is choking him out and he can't see anymore, something's deep down.
Don Cherry,
the Canadian
he's always ready. He's ready for a Donnybrook at all time, and he's gonna throw bombs. He's gonna have a good bout. He's gonna win that fight. Yeah. I'm also locking in Don Cherry, if you can't tell. Andy, listen, I don't like being wrong either, so I don't want you to take.
Well, that's not something that I have to worry about. So I guess I feel bad for you.
All right, but the answer locked in. Don Cherry grabs 2 votes. So he won either way, but we're still going to throw it over to social media. I know that my people will take care of me and keep me on my trail of success. And Andy, I promise you'll get it one day. I really do. I hope the best for you in your future.
I'm right every time. I'm just going to say it. I'm right every single time. I know that sometimes people vote differently.
Andrew, you used to have a picture. You used to have a Post-it note on your door that said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? So you continually pick losers and lose and then try to sit here and say you win. That's insane. That's certifiably insane. You defined it for me. I knew that as a young child because you had it on your door.
Look, just because people say it on social media doesn't mean that it's correct. Now, I respect our audience.
What do you mean? Everything on social media is true.
But I don't have to agree with the way that they
What? You're telling me that there's false information on the internet?
I'll send you some links. I'll send you some links.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Oh yeah, well, I mean, hey, I really do like that Who Would Win of the Week, though. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope
that was a good one. Yeah. I'm interested to see what social media has to say because I do think a lot of people might have some skewed opinions.